Okay, so today we're going to talk about a test that I like to do with my athletes, but also my personal training clients. It's something that you can track and gives you a good indicator as far as if it's your personal training clients, it's looking at their kind of physical fitness, their overall general conditioning. But if it's your athlete, it's going to give you some information that you can use to improve your conditioning sessions. So what we're doing today is called the Modified Cooper's test. So the original test is called the Cooper's test, which is a 12-minute test. This is cut in half, which is a 6-minute test. So the thing with this one is you're going to do it for 6 minutes, and you can do it on the track, on a treadmill, on a bike, on a rower. You want to use something that you can track distance, that tracks distance. So if you're on the track, you're basically measuring how many times you went around plus, wherever you finished at. So you're going to track your distance that you're covering, and then you're going to use a heart rate monitor that straps onto your chest, and then you're going to utilize that for what we call the heart rate recovery number that we're going to use down the road. Okay, so what we're doing today, again, the Modified Cooper's test. So I had one of my athletes complete it today. We did it on the Aerodyne bike, and the way we did it, I told him hop on the bike. You're going to go as hard as you can for 6 minutes, and the only instructions I told him was make sure that you're finding a pace that's pretty high intense, but a pace that's not going to gas you out. But then you also got to push yourself. When you come off of this bike after the 6 minutes, it should feel relatively hard. You should be breathing pretty hard, but it's a tough test, so you got to give yourself maximum effort during those 6 minutes, but you don't want to start off too fast or else you're going to gas out. So when he hopped on the bike after 6 minutes, he covered 2.4 miles on the Aerodyne bike. So that's an important number because over time, the next time we do that test, our goal is to hopefully cover a little bit more distance. That's telling us that he's getting improved as far as his fitness, his conditioning program is basically getting his what we term the anaerobic threshold, and we're moving that up. So essentially what we're trying to do with this test is find what we term the anaerobic threshold. So essentially what that is moving from primarily using aerobic metabolism, and you're shifting over to primarily using your anaerobic metabolism to produce energy. So why is that important? It's especially important for athletes when you're writing their or you're prescribing their conditioning sessions. Utilizing this number that we're going to talk about in a second is going to give you a lot of insight as to how to program your conditioning. I'm going to make another video talking about that in the future, but today we're just going to kind of focus on the actual test itself. So what you want to do is when the athlete or your client is doing this test, they're wearing their heart rate monitor, so every minute you're going to write down what's their heart rate. So at the 1 minute mark, my athlete was at 152 beats, second minute 157, third minute 162, fourth minute 170, fifth minute 175, and the last minute he ended at 178. So after I got this data, I averaged it out, so I just added all the numbers up, divided it by 6, and that gave me 166 beats per minute as far as his average heart rate. This essentially is going to give us his anaerobic threshold. Again, it's kind of an estimate unless you have access to a laboratory. This has actually it's pretty reliable. It's not exact as if you were in the laboratory, but it gives you a good indicator as to where their anaerobic threshold is. Again, going from that aerobic metabolism, shifting over into anaerobic metabolism. So once we get that information, again, we'll talk about in a separate video how to use that number to help you improve your conditioning. Now we're going to move over to your heart rate recovery. Essentially what we're trying to do is as soon as he comes off of that bike, we're trying to bring that heart rate as low as possible within that given amount of time. So the way I like to do is it's a 1 minute recovery, but I'm checking their 30-second at the 30-second mark and then at the 60-second mark. So as soon as he came off the bike, his heart rate was at 178. After 30 seconds, he was able to bring it down to 154. So that's a minus of 24 beats that he was able to drop. After 60 seconds, again, he started at 178. And he ended at 140, which is a minus of 38 beats that he was able to drop. Now that to me is relatively good. I like to see with my athletes about 130 beats per minute would be kind of ideal within that 1 minute mark, and something above about 40 beats is considered relatively pretty strong. So we have a little bit to improve on there, but overall this is just a baseline test, and what we're going to do is we're going to track it again in another maybe 4 weeks or so, but I'm going to use this number to improve his conditioning training program. But we're going to test it again. My goal is hopefully he covers a little bit more distance, and then the average bumps up a little bit by a few points. That way his anaerobic threshold is actually getting higher, so he's going to be in better shape when it comes to fight night. And also we can see if he's getting better as far as his recovery goes. So again, this is not just for athletes. If you're just a person that goes to the gym and wants to be healthy and fit, this is a good way to track your overall just general fitness over time and see if you're improving as far as your fitness goes, not just your strength in the weight room. So if you have any questions, feel free to drop some comments below, tag, share it, definitely appreciate that. And if you want to subscribe to the YouTube channel, that's where I'm going to be making another video about how to utilize that average heart rate that you got from this data and use that to improve your conditioning sessions. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask. You can direct message me. Hopefully you got some good information from this video, and until next time, we're going to make another one on this topic. I'm out.
Breathe and 5. Come on. Don't stop, don't stop, don't stop, don't stop, and stop. 2.4, 2.4. Now recover. 178, 2.4. 178, 2.4.